You're involved in a motor vehicle collision. The at-fault driver's insurance company calls you. They tell you they want a recorded statement. They also tell you, don't call an attorney. Whose interest do you think they're looking out for? It's not yours. Email the Janssen Law Center concerning your claim.
Jay Janssen. One name says it all. The Janssen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Welcome again to the Ask Jay Janssen Show. We're going to talk today about insurance. You know, most of us have insurance on our home, insurance on our automobile, or perhaps you have a boat. You have life insurance. The areas that we're going to be concerned with here today are homeowners insurance, number one, and automobile insurance, number two. Life insurance is a whole nother issue. People do consult the Janssen Law Center on collecting on life insurance, and we assist in that regard, most generally free of charge. So let's get to the questions today and see if we can uncover some issues with regard to automobile and insurance with regard to your home. Okay, any questions? Yes, sir.
Who's covered under my automobile insurance policy to drive my car?
All right, that's an interesting question. The young man here has a question concerning who's insured on a car insured policy. Well, the insurance is issued to the car. When you get a car, that VIN number goes into the insurance company. Insurance is on the car. Now, the driver or the owner of the car is a named insured. But what if you give the car to a friend to drive, and that friend gives that car to a friend who gives it to another friend? Do we have insurance coverage? Well, we do if the use is permissive. Now, the one thing you have to watch on automobile insurance coverage is that many times insurance companies will exclude a member of your household. If somebody has had a DUI, they've had a lot of crashes, they're going to exclude that person. So that person would not be covered. But if it's a permissive use and you give a permittee that car, a permittee of a permittee of a permittee is covered. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you.
All right. Who else has questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Jay. What advice would you give for how much auto insurance I should buy on my own car?
All right, on your own car. Well, you want to buy as much underinsured and uninsured motorist coverage as you can afford. And those coverages are low cost. The cost that is high is collision on the fenders on your car. So you generally would say you would like to have $500,000 liability, $500,000 uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage, maybe even more. But don't worry about collision on your car. Now, if you owe money on the car, generally the loan company requires you to have collision. But take the highest deductible you can take, because that's where you'll save real money. Thank you very much. Good question. Who's next?
Hi, Jay. So if someone falls at my house and it gets injured, am I responsible because I own the property?
All right, Illinois is a fault state. You're not responsible unless you did something to cause that fall. And by and large, everything is open and obvious in a home. If somebody's in your home and they fall down the stairs, why did they fall down the stairs? Well, maybe there'd be an issue of lighting. Maybe there'd be an issue of a tread loose or a rug that was loose. That may cause liability, but by and large in Illinois, unless you can show fault with regard to the property owner, you cannot make a collection. Thank you. Excellent question. Anybody else? Yes, yes.
An insurance company once told me that I can't make an injury claim if I have a pre-existing condition. How is this handled?
We see that a lot, where you say, well, 3 years ago, you were in another motor vehicle crash. Somebody ran into the back end of your car. How are you going to stop somebody from running into the back end of your car? You can't. It's a strict liability situation. But you had a sore neck and a sore back, and you went to a doctor 3 years ago with that same injury. Now, here another vehicle runs in the back. You got the same injury over again. Well, the insurance companies many times try to offset one against the other. Can't do it in Illinois. Cannot do it. Pre-existing condition is totally compensable in Illinois. In other words, you can't complain that you ran into a truck full of eggs rather than a truck full of bricks, right? Or that the person in that car was a big-time football player instead of somebody that's susceptible to injury. So you take the injured person as you find them. Thank you very much. Excellent. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
So can I just call up the Janssen Law Center and ask for advice without paying for it?
You sure can. First of all, how would I ever charge somebody that calls me up on the phone? I talk with people on the phone all day long, and they say, do I have a case? This is what happened to me, or this is what happened to my husband, or this is what happened to a cousin or an aunt. And I'll listen to it and give some advice about it. And if I think that I can help them, then I have them come into the office. But there's never a charge to discuss a claim on the Janssen Law Center. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Do I still need to contact a lawyer if my insurance company tells me they're going to cover all of my expenses?
Well, it depends. When you say my insurance company, is that your insurance company, or is it the insurance company for the at-fault driver? Your own insurance company is only going to cover your expenses up to the extent of medical pay coverage. And most people don't carry much medical pay coverage because you might have hospitalization coverage and you don't want to duplicate your coverages. So your own insurance company, maybe you only have $5,000 med pay. Yeah, they'll pay up to $5,000. What you're concerned about is the driver that ran through that stop sign and collided with you, put you in the hospital, and then they tell you, oh, we're going to take care of everything. Well, what? Take care of everything? Maybe you have permanent injuries. Maybe you have broken bones. Maybe you have something that's going to require treatment over a period of time. So when they tell you, we're going to take care of it, and they also probably tell you, don't hire a lawyer because you're going to have to pay the lawyer something, don't take that advice. You don't want to give a recorded statement. You should be very suspicious of the other insurance company. They're looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for you. Thank you very much. Who's next? Anybody? Okay, way in the back. All right.
The insurance company told me that I don't need any medical attention from a collision. So what should I do?
We hear that. People call us up and they say, well, the other insurance company called me and they said, I'll be all right in a week or two. Now, this is somebody on a phone calling from Hartford, Connecticut to your home telling you you don't need medical attention. Don't you think that's wrong? You know, in any city in Illinois of any size, we had insurance offices. I take Bloomington, you know, floors of buildings in Bloomington were occupied by insurance representatives. Galesburg, the same thing. Decatur, LaSalle, Peru, Ottawa, Peoria. In Peoria, you had Travelers Insurance with 2 floors of a savings center tower. You had Aetna Insurance. You had drive-throughs. You had a State Farm drive-through. These are all gone. Somebody deals with your case on a phone from another city that doesn't know anything about you, and they're telling you you don't need medical coverage. Hang up. Call the Janssen Law Center. Thank you. Let's take a break. We'll be back in just a minute to answer some more questions with regard to automobile accident insurance, homeowners insurance also. Thank you. You know, the greatest myth with regard to motor vehicle collisions is that a person says that they have full coverage. Well, insurance companies are now fighting each other with rates, and how does that happen? Well, they cut down the coverage that they're giving their insureds. Contact the Janssen Law Center concerning your claim.
Jay Janssen. One name says it all.
Jay Janssen is one of the most preeminent and successful lawyers in the United States, building his practice on integrity, tenacity, and protecting the rights of innocent accident victims. Jay Janssen, one name really does say it all.
The most important consideration in selecting a law firm is their past success. The insurance companies know the successful law firms, so should you.
One name says it all.
Welcome back to the Ask Jay Janssen Show. We're talking today about insurance coverages with regard to motor vehicles and homeowners insurance. So we've got some questions out in the audience. Let's go to that right now. Okay, who's next out here? Okay, yes, ma'am.
How can you tell how much is worth like an injury or a death claim?
All right, so you're injured in a motor vehicle collision, or someone in your family actually dies as a result of a motor vehicle collision. How is that evaluated? We have in Illinois jury instructions approved by the Supreme Court of the state of Illinois, which is sort of interesting because we only have 7 justices in the Supreme Court of Illinois. They have 9 in Washington, D.C. Those jury instructions talk about the nature and extent of your injury. They talk about loss of a normal life. They talk about, is this a permanent injury? Will you have this injury the rest of your life? If so, then a life expectancy table comes in because you're having pain and suffering from now until forever, okay? So you've got disfigurement. You've got loss of income. You've got medical bills. These are all things the jury takes into consideration. Now, you can try a case with a judge, and the judge makes decisions on these cases. But most insurance companies will ask for a jury of 12 people to make the determination on damages. And that jury instruction will have lines on it for pain and suffering, disability, loss of income, that type of thing. And the jury adds all that up, and that's your verdict. Thank you. Excellent question. Yes. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
So my vehicle was totaled in a collision, and my insurance company won't pay what I owe on my car loan. Is there anything I can do about that?
I hear that one all the time. You know what happens? You buy a car, and say you pay $30,000 for the car. Well, what's it worth in 2 years? What's it worth in 3 years? And you're making payments every month, but cars depreciate so quickly that you become underwater. So there is gap insurance that you can get, but we try to negotiate to get the highest dollar for people. Mileage is important. Is there rust on the vehicle? Is there any pre-existing damage on the vehicle? Just because an insurance company offers you a certain amount, give us a call. Let's see if I can't make one call. I charge nothing for property damage. See if I can't make a call to get you another few thousand, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
What does it cost to hire the Janssen Law Center?
What does it cost to hire the Janssen Law Center or any other attorney? You know, we only operate on a contingent fee basis. We don't even have billing stationery. If I get an award for people and they want a will, we do it free of charge, you know, if they're a client. We don't charge at open an estate for an accident case if family lost a loved one. But we charge a 1/3 contingent fee case on cases. Sometimes if it's medical malpractice and it's a very difficult case and it goes on for years, then our fee will be something greater. But by and large, every case is based on a 1/3 fee. Now, people that are injured at work, workman's compensation, that's 20%, and that's set by the state of Illinois. And like on a death case, a man's killed working in a job and there's no third party, we don't even charge on that. I mean, we just, you just take the widow before the Industrial Commission, she gets a pension for life based upon his earning capacity. Thank you very much. Who's next? Yes, sir.
Can an insurance company tell a person how many times they can go to a doctor after an injury?
Well, we get that. They come in and they say, well, you've made 4 or 5 visits to a physical therapist. Aren't you well by now? You don't have any broken bones. And yet you're hurting. But who is this person? Ask them where they're calling from. You'll find they're calling from Middlebury, Ohio, and they're operating out of the basement of their home. These insurance companies no longer have all these local offices where they have local adjusters that know the area, know the people, know the attorneys, know the doctors. They're calling from someplace that you never heard of. And that's what's going on in insurance today. They're paid to give you the least amount of money. Janssen Law Center wants you to get the maximum amount of money. Okay? Thank you. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
So what can be done if the person that caused the car accident doesn't have any insurance?
All right, we see that a lot. The drunk driver, the hit and run person, the person even that's got insurance, they think they've got insurance, but they haven't paid their premium. So you get a cancellation, they've got an insurance card, they still don't have any insurance. The only way that you're going to make a recovery there is your own underinsured motorist coverage. Now, sometimes we can go back and we find out many times insurance companies deny coverage wrongly. We find out if it's a very serious crash. We had a situation just recently, and it's up on appeal right now, where the insurance company said there is no coverage. Well, the vehicle was covered. What they mean is that the driver who had the vehicle was not covered because it was a non-permissive use. Well, we did our investigation and we found, in fact, it was a permissive use. So we went over and tried the case. Insurance company persisted. No coverage, no coverage. Young man, brain damage. You know, I get a lot of those cases where people hit their heads and I mean, you get traumatic brain injuries. Tried the case in Peoria, in the local court in Peoria, and the judge awarded $4.65 million. Insurance company still says no coverage. So we're all the way through the court system, federal court system, and now we hope to go to the Supreme Court of the United States on that particular issue. But we find a lot of times insurance companies deny coverage or say there is no coverage when in fact there is coverage. That's why you need to consult with us. If we can't do anything for you, we don't charge anything. It's only if we win the case. But remember, we've got first choice as to whether we take the case or not. And if you've got first choice, you ought to be able to win the case. We don't get paid unless we win, so we're in it together, aren't we? Thank you. Very good question. All right. Let's take a break for a minute, and we'll be right back.
The Janssen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
You know, the Janssen Law Center repeatedly hears from families concerning members who have been injured out of state. For example, at school, business, vacation. Consult the Janssen Law Center concerning your out-of-state claim.
Jay Janssen. One name says it all.
Jay Janssen takes on big pharmaceutical, insurance, automotive, and Fortune 100 companies. Some cases have resulted in changes in the law and greater product safety. There is never a fee to discuss your case at the Janssen Law Center.
You're involved in a motor vehicle collision. The at-fault driver's insurance company calls you. They tell you they want a recorded statement. They also tell you, don't call an attorney. Whose interest do you think they're looking out for? It's not yours. Email the Janssen Law Center concerning your claim.
Jay Janssen. One name says it all.
We're talking today about homeowners insurance, motor vehicle insurance, what cases are worth, how do we determine damages. So let's see if we can get another question in this area, and let's hope I got an answer. Yes, sir.
How you doing there, Jay? How do I know what a case is worth?
Well, I talked with the young lady over there on a question, and we have jury verdict forms. But I'll tell you what we do at the Janssen Law Center, and we do it frequently. We take an audience, generally 36 people, 12 people in a jury, 4 juries, 4 separate juries, and we present the case. We take the depositions, and we have actors who present the case just as though the injured people were testifying. And then we take the doctor's depositions and read those into the record, and then we separate those 12 people into one room, another 12 in another room. We have a TV camera there. And this is what's called a mock jury. So we've got 4 separate juries. And the jury gets the instructions that the judge gives. And we have a judge that sits in our mock jury. This is before we go to trial, maybe a month or 2 before we go to trial. So we see what the jurors in room 1 come back with, the jurors in room 2, plus we hear what they talk about, because it's video, and they'll say, I didn't believe this witness so much. Well, is that reflected in room 3 or room 4? So that gives us a very good indication as to what a jury will do on a case. And I had a case recently in federal court. It was a semi-crash, horrible semi-crash. A lot of people injured badly. And I took the results of the mock jury with the sheets that people filled out into the final negotiation with the United States Federal District Judge. And I said, you guys want to pay this fee? You want to pay off on this case? And it was a big trucking company, national trucking company. I said, you don't want to settle this case with these deserving people? Look what these mock juries gave. They went into panic. And the numbers were big. But a mock jury is a very good way of seeing what a real jury would do. Excellent question. Thank you.
The Janssen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
The Janssen Law Center has a history of successfully settling and trying to verdict large, big rig tractor-trailer truck crashes. Whether these crashes happen in the state of Illinois or outside of the state of Illinois, consult the Janssen Law Center.
Jay Janssen. One name says it all.
Jay Janssen takes on big pharmaceutical, insurance, automotive, and Fortune 100 companies. Some cases have resulted in changes in the law and greater product safety. There is never a fee to discuss your case at the Janssen Law Center.
The Janssen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
The contingent fee basis is that we take the cases, whether it's workman's compensation, whether it's medical malpractice, products liability, or motor vehicle accident. Those cases are taken on a contingent basis, which means that we take a percentage basically set in the industry for handling these kind of cases. And if we don't make a collection, the client pays nothing. We advance all the costs, and the costs are so expensive now to get a case through the court system that you have to have a lawyer who is financially sound to take these kind of cases, because particularly in medical malpractice, we sometimes have as much as $300,000 involved in a case before we can get that case to trial, because we have to get witnesses from all over the country to come in and testify. You're not going to get a doctor in Central Illinois, by and large, to testify against a doctor in Central Illinois.
Sure.
You're going to need one from another area, and those are generally expensive. The deposition is taken. Secondly, the doctor has to come to court. Many times we have those kind of six-figure costs involved in concluding those type of difficult cases.
Jay Janssen, one name says it all.
You know, the Janssen Law Center only takes cases on a contingent basis. But I want to say one other thing before we close this program. The Janssen Law Center offers each year a $40,000 scholarship to Bradley University, divided among 3 students who give an 8 to 10 minute oration at the George Armstrong tournament in December of each year. We've been doing this for over 40 years. We're very proud of it, and I want the public to know how they can enroll to get that scholarship. Thank you. Enjoyed it. The Ask Jay Janssen Show. You'll have another segment coming along shortly. Thank you. You know, the greatest myth with regard to motor vehicle collisions is that a person says that they have full coverage. Well, insurance companies are now fighting each other with rates, and how does that happen? Well, they cut down the coverage that they're giving their insureds. Contact the Janssen Law Center concerning your claim.
Jay Janssen, one name says it all.
Jay Janssen is one of the most preeminent and successful lawyers in the United States, building his practice on integrity, tenacity, and protecting the rights of innocent accident victims. Jay Janssen, one name really does say it all.
The Janssen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Deny, delay, don't pay. This is the motto of many, many insurance companies. You need an attorney that will stick with you through the end to bring your case to a successful conclusion. Consult the Janssen Law Center.
Jay Janssen, one name says it all.
The lawyer you hire today can make a big difference in your life tomorrow.
One name says it all.
This has been a paid message from the Janssen Law Center. Jay Janssen, one name really does say it all.
The most important consideration in selecting a law firm is their past success. The insurance companies know the successful law firms. So should you.
One name says it all.